And what's going on, you guys? It's be your boy, Scotty by Nature TV. Y'all know why y'all here. We're here for the very first episode of my brand new segment, and it's called One on One. Now, y'all know that my voice is not 100%, but we're here. And the first guest that we have today is one of my most favorite YouTubers that's out here right now. Number two, I would say that he is one of those, he's a pop culture critic, mainly a hip hop critic, to be quite honest. And whenever I want to tea about female rap, he is one of those people that I tune into first. Okay. So we're here. I'm gonna try to say it the best way that I can, but we're here for a legendary show, and we're here for a good time, not a long time, because your boy got things to do. So we're gonna go ahead and bring him in. And this is one of my favorite people on YouTube, and that is Mr. Arman Wiggins.
Yes, get in here, get in here. Okay, I'm ready. So, does it feel like I'm looking at you?
It does. It does
Okay,
now.
cool. Because I can't. Because when I do this, I'm actually looking at you. When I'm doing this, I'm looking at the camera. So,
Okay. Okay.
just all
Okay.
right. So,
All right. So what's going on with you today? Like, I know we already talked just a tad bit behind the scenes, but since we're in front of the people, what's going on today? Because we know you be having a lot going on.
today actually was pretty light. I got some things I'm doing tonight, but I just been chilling today. Honestly, went got my nails done, got my hair cut. I'm trying this thing out. I don't know if it's gonna work because it's real spotty. I'm trying to see if I can, grow the beard out for the winter. I don't know how long it's gonna last. I'm trying to do it but I'm feeling some type of way already. So we'll see how long this lasts.
Well, you sound like me because I've been trying to grow a beard for a long time, and as you can see, I can only get a chin strap, so
Yes.
it's not
It's a
gonna happen.
struggle. It's a struggle. I'm gonna try,
Yeah,
but I don't know how long I'm gonna last.
you might last just as long as I did when I tried to do it in the wintertime. It took me months and it still didn't grow out. So, you
Yes.
know.
Oh, I'm nervous about that.
However, we're here to discuss Armand, all things Armand.
Oh, period. I
Um,
love that.
we're here to talk about your start, your
Oh.
present, your
Oh.
what you plan to do in the future, and we're gonna get into a little bit of things,
Okay.
you know. So we're gonna start this thing out. So you are from LA, right? You were born and raised in LA, right?
No, so actually,
Okay.
I was born in Walnut Creek, California.
Okay.
So I'm from the Bay Area. My family's from San
Okay.
Francisco, Oakland, Livermore, that whole area. So Northern California is actually where I'm from. Then, yeah. So and then we moved out to the Valley, like Tracy, Modesto, Manteca area. People from the Bay will know where that's at. So then, my parents thought it was like, a little bit more. It was a better place for them to raise a child. So we went and
Right.
moved to the Valley.
Okay, so I'm from the deep south. So
Okay.
what was your childhood like growing up on West Coast? I've always wanted to know
Um,
that
I
side.
loved it actually. I mean, that's all I known. So I mean, I loved it. Like, especially living in San Francisco, my grandfather had his own grocery store, his little corner store. So it was really, it was a dope vibe. Like my dad has like six brothers and sisters. So it was, and we had like a huge house in the city. We would always go to like my grandmother's house, and we would ride bikes through Golden Gate Park, and it was a vibe. You know what I mean? That's back in the day when a bag of chips was 25 cents for one. And
Right.
it was really fun. I would go to my grandfather's shop and, steal candy, and he would try to teach me how to use the cash register and stuff. It was like the little typewriter kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
But it was a cool vibe. I loved it. Growing up was fun. I was always talking and laughing and singing and just doing a lot there. So yeah, it was cool.
So you have a background with like dance, right?
Yes, so dance, music, that's kind of always been my thing. Um, so when I was a kid, my cousin was actually like a music producer. Shout out to him. And my dad, I remember he bought me like my first little keyboard thing. So I was like trying to learn how to do that. Never actually learned how to do it, but I always like singing. So I would like do a lot of singing at the church, singing at schools and things like that. Singing at weddings and singing at the family functions. So that was always cool. And then I ended up moving in with my mom at some point because my
Hmm.
parents are separated, and so I started like picking up a lot of dance. So through high school, I started doing a lot of dance, and I don't know if you remember the movie "You Got Served" or
I do.
"Rise." Yeah, so that's what really kicked it off for me. So we used to do a lot of dance battles and stuff like that. And then so on the weekends they used to have this 18 and over club. And so I would go there and perform and dance. And this is when the iPod mini first came out, the big chunky one. I had
Mhm.
battled these girls for that iPod, so crazy. And I had one child. And then yeah, it took off from there. Akon was there, and this radio lady that she worked for 97.9. It's a station in Stockton. And she was like, "Hey, you're really really good. You know what I mean? Like, we want you to do some work with Akon." That never happened. I used to have his number though, and I used to call him all the
Mhm.
time and ask for work. Turns out he was only looking for women. Long story short, these girls, the girl I ended up beating though, she ended up asking
Mhm.
me to come and do an audition for her dance group. So I ended up doing a audition for a dance group. Um, and then after that, we started performing around different little high schools. And then from there, we landed a gig with MC Hammer. And then that was when I got my first little taste of like superstardom, or not or like the entertainment business kind of life.
Right.
And so that's kind of where it started for me.
Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. So you had a background with dancing, you had a background
Mhm,
with music.
mhm.
So what actually led you into getting into like like the commentary thing? Was it the dance and your love for the entertainment back then that led you into it because due to the things that you're talking about on your platform?
Well, I've always been a personality, and I always
Mhm.
talked on the phone a lot, and my parents always used to be like, "You talk too much, you talk too much, you talk too much, you talk too much. You're so extra," and people would always call me so extra and obnoxious and just a lot of things. But I was always very nosy. Um, so you couple being nosy, talking a lot, gossiping on the phone and doing things like that. And then, a high schooler, I got a taste of what it felt like to work a non-traditional job. I was touring, I was performing on television. And then for a little bit, I ended up moving to LA. I went
Mhm.
to Performing Arts Academy where I studied jazz, tap, ballet, musical theater, and dramatic arts. So I did that for a little bit, got into some trouble, ended up not being able to finish because my parents couldn't afford it. So then I landed a gig, as a stylist assistant, and I was working for Brandy at the time.
Oh, wow.
Um, and so, I got let go from that too. And then I realized though, I couldn't work a regular job. I didn't like it because I was still chasing and feeling that feeling of that freedom of traveling and getting on a flight and going to rehearsals and just that kind of that kind of fun. Like, imagine being a not even legal 16, 17-year-old going to a P. Diddy party and meeting Missy Elliott and Gwen Stefani and Destiny's Child and battling AJ and Free in a dance contest and standing next to Paris Hilton as a 17-year-old. You know what I mean? I'm like, then
Right.
have to go back to school and then get a
Right.
regular job at, fucking Sonic or something. I was like, no, 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 no. Because I got paid for performing. So
Right.
I had got a taste of what that was like. And I was like, I'm not going back. So a job just was never going to work. However, I also, though, realized that I didn't like being in the background because at any moment you can get cut or you can get fired. Right. So I was trying to
Mhm.
figure out what I was going to do. I don't know how I landed up studying real estate, but I was trying to go do real estate for a little bit. That didn't end up working. I ended up going to a job, moving to Atlanta after I got into some trouble with some other stuff in Houston, child. I moved around.
Yeah.
And ended up meeting these two twin girls. And because I talked so much and I was so colorful at the call center that I worked at, they were my supervisors. But child, I was have everybody cracking up rolling. This was in 2015. They were like,
Mhm.
"Have you ever thought about a podcast?" I was like, "I don't even know what a podcast is." And so, long story short, they had me, audition for their podcast. I started doing their podcast. It was about celebrity news and gossip. It was amazing. But they ended up firing me because we just couldn't see eye to eye. Some people think they were jealous. I don't know. But they ended up firing me. And so one of my friends, I felt so bad because they had a beautiful setup, a beautiful backdrop, professional cameras, and I didn't know what I was going to do. I was sitting there in Atlanta broke, homeless, damn near, but I knew at the moment I was cute and I was, I had niggas. So my friend was like, talk about the experience with the niggas. So I
Right.
got on my phone and I just started talking about my date nights and my hookups and, different boys I would meet. And it just kind of took off from there.
Well, like someone said in the comments, you being fired was probably your biggest blessing because
Uh-huh.
look at where it's led you to be at now.
Yeah.
So when you started getting into YouTube, um, did you know going into it that it would be what it is now? Did you have like
Um,
an inkling in your head that I'm going into this? I know because sometimes we go into things and sometimes we just know that it's going to be huge, or sometimes we're not really sure that it's going to be huge. But did you go into it knowing that it would be where it is now?
um, you want the real answer or you want the humble answer?
I want the real answer. I want
The
you to
real
keep it a
answer is
book.
I knew because I know what I know, you know what I mean? Because I know my ability. I'm when you're comfortable in what you do, when like I can do like the reason why I knew is because I did it for free.
Hmm.
Okay. So I didn't do it for the money. I did it because I love to talk. You know what I mean? And then the money came. And so once I started, I got my first paycheck on Facebook doing it. But at first it was just a release. I just liked the attention that I was getting and I was good at it. Then I started monetizing off of it. So then I
Right.
knew that at some point all I need to do now it was a little difficult cracking the YouTube code though. But once I
Mm,
got into it, I was like, yeah, I can do this because one thing I knew that I had an opinion and I had a perspective and I knew how to deliver a message. And if I couldn't do nothing else, I could talk.
right.
Yeah.
We kind of have
There
a similar beginning though, because
okay.
I started off on Facebook too.
Mm.
And it's kind of like I didn't start out talking about like celebrity gossip like I talk about now, but it pretty much started off like kind of similar to what you was doing. Like you were talking about things that were going on in your real life. Like you were talking about your dates and stuff. I was talking about all of the things that I had going on in real time.
Well, yeah, and two though on YouTube,
Yeah.
on Facebook, it was pretty got pretty nasty. I kind of got kicked off because I was doing news, but it was LGBT news. So if the
Mm,
girls would be fighting in Atlanta for Pride, I would break the story and I would have them on the show. Or the Bobby Valentino sleeping with the transgender, I'd have her on the show. Like I was doing all the gay pop culture news and the stuff that was happening on,
right.
pretty much the stuff that they're doing on Bigo right now, I would be
You was
reporting.
already doing it.
Yeah, so I would be in that mix, like getting into it, and everybody would know. Like, but I've covered some really crazy stuff there. Like, I covered the Post nightclub shooting, like, and I interviewed some of the
Mm,
victims that was there. I've done like there was like some M words, some like murders that have happened with relationships. Like, I've covered those. I've covered some heavy stories on Facebook within our community that are really crazy. I've also covered people. There was this one story that I did about a guy who was they called him a bug chaser. And it was
mm.
really sad because what he would do is he would sleep with people anonymously, hoping to catch the virus because he didn't love himself. So it was a whole thing.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So it was a lot. It was very interesting there during that time.
Okay, so how did you go into the lane that you're in now, which is female rap?
Okay. So
Because when I want to hear about female rap, you literally one of the first people I'll go to for that.
so it was like I took a year off and then because it just got crazy. So I took a year off in 2017.
Hmm.
And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna make the transition to YouTube. No, yeah, the year I was DJing. I started DJing in 2017. So I got me a little DJ mixer. I was DJing, I was doing some gigs there. Then in 2018, I was like, okay, I think I'm gonna get into YouTube. And I was like, oh, I love Nicki Minaj. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about Nicki Minaj, Cardi B, female rappers, because I always loved it. I was dating this
Hmm.
guy back in 2019, and like he hated the fact that I was such a Nicki Minaj fan. Like he hated Nicki Minaj, but she was always like one of like my favorite female. It was her and Missy Elliott. Once she hit the scene, I ended up loving her so much, and so I loved everything that she did. And then so I led with that on YouTube, and I just started well, actually that's I did Nicki Minaj, and then I was Love and Hip Hop was really big during that time. And I
It
would just do
was.
Love and Hip Hop reviews, and it would just be a key. And so I just was like, okay, let's do something different because I couldn't get the gays from over on YouTube to come over into the space of the gays on Facebook to come over to YouTube. Like people don't like to jump platforms to platforms. So I said, well, I'm going to target a new audience and I needed to broaden my perspective. I just didn't want to be boxed in as, a gay person that just talks about gay things. So I just started talking about TV shows that I watch, people that I liked, and it just started gaining traction.
Hmm. Oh wow. See, when I came across you, I think it was probably 2019,
Okay.
I think. A little bit before the whole fiasco with the whole basketball wives thing. That's right around that time.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. Yes, that was
That time.
crazy.
So yeah, so but then you started getting into the female rap thing. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm not just blowing smoke up your ass. But
Mhm.
what I'm saying is a lot of things about female rap that goes on, I wouldn't know if I didn't watch you.
Yeah,
Because you
yeah,
talk about all of them. You don't just
yeah,
stick on one person and you talk about everything that goes on.
yeah.
And it's very entertaining. And it's so funny to me that you have so many people that love your commentary, but then you have so many people that can't stand you, but they still
Mhm,
be following you and they still
mhm.
be calling into your show. So you kind of like a to me, you're like a polarizing figure in the sense like people love you, but then there's people that love to hate you at the same time.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
I definitely get it.
So as you get into like the female rap thing and you become, bigger than life at this point, I want to know how was it going to brunch with the likes of like Kanye West? Because I know he's one of your favorites. So how was it like
Um,
going to brunch with him or
that
meeting
was
him?
crazy. Honestly, that like when I made the move to LA, I moved to LA a year and a half ago.
Hmm.
Um, so I would just say it was like a point where I was like, okay, you know what? 2022, I'm moving to LA. And so at the top of the year, I was like, dang, I'm going to brunch with Kanye West. And to me, and I was the only YouTuber in that room. You have Vibe Magazine, Essence, Ebony, Billboard, um, Facebook or Meta. You had Variety, all different representations of media. And then there's me, the YouTuber.
Right.
And I felt amazing about it. But yeah, sitting at brunch with Kanye West, it was eye opening. It was a different kind of feeling, though. It was very elitist. It felt like the room, the way it was set up, the way that the spread was. I really felt like I had arrived and you couldn't tell me nothing. You know what I mean? Because here's the thing, they do like a Sunday service,
Hmm.
but the brunch was like only 50 people. And I was one of those 50 people. And we got to sit across and we got to sit in the we sat in a triangle and we had conversations. And I was among some very powerful people. And some people were looking at me like, why are you in here? And I'm like, just know that I'm here. You know what I mean? So I mean, if anything, it kind of like those days where I just want to give up and be like, you know what, I'm over this. I'm done. Um, that makes me continue going. And then also, my little brother is a huge Kanye West fan, and he was
Hmm.
in Chicago the night before, and he wanted to take a picture with Kanye West, but his team, he plays basketball. I guess Kanye West has some sort of basketball league in Chicago or something like that. Um, but the team didn't care. They wanted to go to the bowling alley or something like that. So he had to go to the bowling alley and didn't get to meet Kanye West. So I also was going for my little brother, right? Because I'm the
Hmm.
oldest. So I always gotta be a step ahead of them niggas. Like, you know what I mean? I want them to pass me up, but I gotta set the standard so high because I got 9 brothers and sisters. So I gotta set the standard. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because I've traveled, I've moved around a lot. So I want them to see like your brother's been working, you have something to aspire. I want my brothers and sisters to be proud of me. And I want my mom and my dad to be like, we didn't understand what you were doing, but now we see it. So the
Right.
idea is I want my brothers and sisters to be like, damn, that's my brother. And I'm so proud of him. And so, I did that and I wanted to bring back at least a photo or a connection between me and Kanye West for my little brother. So that is the only reason, honestly, that I even took the picture with him. But I was the only person there that actually got a one-on-one photo with Kanye West, and then it ended up in the Daily Mail, which was amazing. And then my brother, he loved it. He cried. It was just an amazing thing for him. So yeah, it was for me, but it was also for my little brother. So shout out to Cody.
That's funny because like my relationship with my baby brother is pretty much the same. Like a
Mm,
lot of things that I do is for him. Like, you know what I
mhm.
mean? So I get what you're saying. Um, being that you were the only YouTuber in the room, do you feel because I've heard you say this before, and I heard you and Milagro say this a couple of months ago when you guys were covering like the Tory and Megan case. You guys were saying that we're the new media, the new media, the new media. Do you think that YouTubers are finally starting to get the flowers that they deserve to get, or do you think that there's quote unquote real media journalists that don't want to allow YouTubers into the room,
Well, I
but
feel like
they
new
still
media
coming
is TikTok. Instagram
Mm.
blogs,
Mhm.
Station Head, Amp Radio, anything in that, you know what I mean? Your new
Yeah.
media. We're all like anybody on like that's not traditional radio or legacy media like journalism and things like that. Like we're all mediums of new media. Um, do I feel like we're getting our just dues? I feel like in a sense it's coming around. I feel like TikTokers get a lot of clout though, for
They
sure,
do.
as media. But I think it's coming around. I think that it's coming around. You just got to put in the work. You know what I mean? You got to stay consistent. But they're having to recognize us. You know what I mean? They don't want to though. They still don't want to. Um, Especially when you're in a celebrity gossip blogging space, they don't want to. But I think the pandemic showed a lot of people, hey, you can do this from your bedroom, and they killing it because
They
everybody turned into YouTubers during the pandemic.
they did.
So
They
everybody's
definitely
show
did.
was on from their house. Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna venture off a little bit from the YouTube thing, and I
Mm.
also want to go into the something else that you do, which is tarot reading.
Mm.
Um, I want to dive more into that because I get tarot readings and stuff. I haven't in
Yeah.
a while, but I know I get them. I used to get them
Mm.
frequently a lot of the times.
Mhm.
But what got you into tarot reading?
Well, that was something that I was always into as a child. I remember I'll never forget. It was like I was in 6th grade. There was this girl. She was like really, really gothic, but
Mhm.
she was like into witchcraft. I didn't know, but I was always drawn to magic. But then I got to tell you this too, though.
Mhm.
Before we go there, like like I said, my family was all heavily into church.
Mhm.
Very religious people. My dad was Baptist. My mom was apostolic. Like it was a whole thing. But um, my auntie, she's seen a lot of visions and stuff like that. So she would always come like to the house and like we would have Terry sessions. Like and we would like call Jesus, like some people would say conjure up, but we would Jesus, 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 Jesus until like we had the Holy Ghost or until we seen something. Like she would make us do that for hours and say Jesus, 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 Jesus until like we would start seeing shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think she kind of put that in me, and then for a long time I would have a lot of deja vu and a lot of foresight. It would just be so crazy, and then like this is so crazy too. Like when like people would like pass away, like as a kid, like my grandmother would take me to like the hospitals with them and like sing to them so that they can like pass away. And so I think that subconsciously it kind of was always there
Mhm.
in me. So then fast forward, I'm in 6th grade and I'm playing with the girls and then we're playing this game. We're outside playing light as a feather, stiff as a board. I don't know what that was, but we were doing that one time. And I swear to God, in my mind, I lifted up. And once I lifted up, I was like, what is that? I want to do it. But I was like, but do you remember those things? I don't know if you remember. Okay, so they're kind of like they're like plastic or like rubber band like bracelets that people was buying and you would kind of like interlock them and like wear them on your wrist. It was a thing back in the day.
I think I know what you're talking about.
I don't know, like, and they would come in like black or white or like they'd
Uh-huh.
be sparkles and like the gays would wear them. Like you would, that's how you know if you were gay.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
You
Now
know
that
what
you
I'm
explained it like that, I
saying?
know what you're talking about now.
And so, are you sure it's kind of like they're like plasticky, but they were like little bracelets?
Yeah, I know what you mean, and I think they had necklaces like that too.
Yeah. So yeah, I was doing okay. So anyway, so she had black ones on. I was like,
Mhm.
well, what is it? She was like, because I practice dark magic. I said, well, I don't want to do dark magic. She said, well, you can do white magic. I said, well, what is white magic? She's like, it's for good stuff. I said, oh, okay. I like that. And so I went home and I told my stepmom and my dad I was going to do white magic, and they whooped my motherfucking ass. Okay, so I was like, okay, whatever. So I think I turned 16 and I was able to go to Barnes and Nobles one time, and I was like, I want a tarot card book. So I
Mm.
bought a tarot card, threw it away because I think my parents found it. And every year I would like buy them and buy them. Then there was a while where I forgot about it. But then when I moved to Atlanta, someone said, get you some tarot cards. So I got the cards and I just sat there and I just sat there and I sat there and I sat there. It wasn't until 2018, 2019 where I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to
Mhm.
start learning how to read this stuff because it's so interesting to me. I'm so fascinated in it. And then, I still have my imposter syndrome just because of the other kind of work that I do. but I actually love doing readings. So I've been doing it for a while now, like on and off for like since 2019, consistently on and off. And it's so funny that you brought that up because yesterday I went to a Boohoo event, it's a fashion brand. I went there and I literally read, we had a wellness day and I was nervous. I got the call. They were like, "Do you want to do readings in person? Do you want to go do some readings?" I'm like, "Readings? Are you serious?" Like, this is literally yesterday. And I'm
Mhm.
like, "You know what? I'm gonna do it." I went and I did some readings for all these girls, like influencers with millions of followers, subscribers, and they were like gagging. And it was like, it was so amazing. I love the response that I got because they were so open to it. And everything, and I tell people, like, everything may not resonate, but these people, they love these readings so much. And they were like, "What's your Instagram? I want to follow you." I said, "Well, don't follow me on Instagram because that's not the place for that.
Yeah.
But get my phone number because I'd rather this be because these people have now met me outside of the Armand Wiggins show, and they met me as a like almost like a spiritual guide and spiritual coach. And now we're cultivating those kind of relationships. And I don't mind having a private relationship with people throughout the city in that way. So yeah, it was cool. I love it. It's something that I do on the side. I'm always learning. I just took a 9-week class on it. I'm literally in a 9-week class as we speak on astrology. I go every Sunday.
Okay.
Um, and so I study that every Sunday for 2 hours. So those are things that I do. I'm like a divination nerd. Like I really like that stuff. I watch it. I love Tyler's Tarot. I love Vanessa Samina. I love Menopon. I love a lot of these readers out here. They're super dope. And yeah, I like it.
This is very interesting. This is
Yeah.
very
That's what I
interesting.
watch. I don't even watch
Yeah.
YouTuber. Like I watch tarot videos.
Okay, okay,
I don't
okay.
watch like you like I don't watch like celebrity gossip videos.
Yeah, I understand that sometimes you don't want to want to watch too much of that.
Mhm.
So it makes sense. So you're part of a special
Mhm.
about the Tory and Megan case. How did that come about? And how does that feel being one of the people that was on it? Because when
Well,
I saw that, I was like,
I'm gonna give you the two answers. I'm gonna give you the humble, and then I'm gonna give you the not humble. But
okay, go
okay,
ahead.
so it came about pretty much they reached out to me and they were just kind of like, "Listen, the work that you have done on this case, we need you to be a part of this documentary. Um, you did an amazing job covering this case. We want you to be a." I thought it was fake because the man was reaching out to me on Twitter.
Oh
And I
yeah,
was
that's how
paying,
you
and
know.
then they were sending me DMs. I'm like, "What is this? What is this?" So I got on the call with him. I'm like, "Is this real?" And he was like, "Do you have WhatsApp?" Like I had to download the WhatsApp and do a call. I'm like, "Is this real?" Because I got a lot of spam. And he was like,
Yeah,
"No,
I
this
know
is a
what you
real
mean.
documentary." And I was like, "Oh my God, are you sure?" He was like, "Yes." So they flew all the way from London, came to my house, filmed the show. We reenacted some scenes. He was like, "It's going to be on Discovery." I had no idea it was going to be on HBO until it was on HBO.
Hmm.
So I had to hold that in from March until now. So when all that stuff was happening at the court, we were getting kicked out and all of this stuff, and everybody was laughing. I'm thinking, y'all just don't even have a clue. I'm about to be in a whole documentary, and this is why a lot of these people did not want us in there. Like, I don't care if I'm ever at the court again, girl. The job is done. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I got what I needed out of this situation. You know what I mean? The work was done in December. And so when
Right.
everybody was laughing and dragging it, all I could say was, "You will see. You're going to see why I feel the way I feel about why certain people wanted us out, this, that, and the third, because
Hmm.
we were making such a big imprint. And then there were certain people that knew a documentary was happening. And so, yeah. So anyway, the documentary came about. Um, but I'll tell you this: at the top of the year, I did a 60-day fast, a 60-day cleanse, fast cleanse, whatever. January 1st, I didn't drink, I didn't smoke, I didn't do anything, right?
Hmm.
Anything that I deemed like an addiction or not so much an addiction or a clutch
Right.
for me, something that I would just lean on. It could be food, whatever it was. Like I just cleansed everything. I'll say I'm not doing anything that I feel like I would like do on a normal basis, like partying too hard, like anything.
Hmm.
So I could let that go for 60 days. I said, because this year, and I meant this year, I was like, I'm going to be on TV. And I said, if I do this Spirit told me, like, if you do this for 60 days, you will be on television. And so I did it. And so on the 60th day, I got the call for the show. So I was like, wow, that shit really worked. Um, so anyway, so after that, the documentary happens and then it comes out. And so you asked, how do I feel about it? I'm ecstatic about it, because I'm a part of hip hop history. You know what I mean? I'm a part of
Right.
hip hop history that will go down in the books forever. And then my family, and then it also was top 10 on HBO Max. Also, my family got to watch it. So my dad and my stepmom and my mom and my aunts and my uncles and my cousins and everybody who didn't quite understand that loud, obnoxious kid, you know what I mean, growing up, um, well, now they can see, well, this is what he was supposed to do. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so it just feels good because it feels like I'm in my gift and I'm supposed to do it. And no matter what happens, like, no matter what the drama is, no matter who you fall out with, no matter what the mentorship is, no matter who tries to close the door on you, when you're chosen, you're chosen. And I just feel like, you know, God keeps letting me know at every moment, like, it doesn't matter what they say. You can't be stopped in this space unless you decide you're going to stop. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
it feels like, you know, many are called, but only a few are chosen. And I feel like I'm chosen to be in this space to do legendary things.
I
So I
love
just feel like
that.
that's what it is.
I love that answer, actually. I love that. And that's something that most of us could probably relate to or take
Mhm.
from what you just said. Because, I still feel like I'm on the come up. I haven't done some of the things that you done. I've been able to do certain
I'm on
things.
a come up too. We on a come up.
We're both on the come up. You just certain things that you've done so far that I haven't been able to do just yet. But I always feel like when it's my time, it's my time. And long as I continue to do what I'm doing, it's gonna eventually happen. And you did all the things that you needed to do, and you're where you are, and you still have places that you probably still want to go. Like, I know no one is ever, you should never get complacent in one spot. You always should strive for way more.
I'll
You
tell
know.
you this, like being in my 30s and for it to hit, like there was a time where I was like, "Oh my god," because I didn't figure out what I really wanted to do until I was 27. So when I was 27, that's what it hit for me. But we got to go back. We got to go
Okay.
back. Some of my favorite people that I want, like, so this kind of talking has been embedded in me because when I was in the fourth grade, I would sneak and come home and watch Ricky Lake, Tempest Bledsoe, Jenny Jones. You know what I mean? That's what I would watch as a kid. And
Love
then I would
Ricky.
love The Real World. I loved Coral because she would check pictures and stuff like that. Like, so
Right.
I always loved that kind of conversation. Um, and so from there, later on I found Wendy Williams.
Hmm.
Then I got into her story. And I noticed that she started at 27. I was like, you know what? And it took me so long to figure out what I wanted to do and who I was going to be. And I said, well, by 27, I'm going to figure it out. And I'm going to stick to it because I'm the type of person that will change, 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 change. So once I turned 27, I figured out what I was going to, I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. But I felt some type of way though at the same time because when I was 27, now I would love to be 27 again. But I felt like, oh my God, you're 27 and
Mm.
you're just not figuring out what you want to do. You're about to be 30, you know what I mean? And
Right.
so when I turned 30, I was like feeling like, okay, I'm just now getting in the groove. And then 31, 32, like the 30s kept going. So I'm like, whoa, but I realized in like just last year, like I'm 34, 34, 35 now. So I just moved to where I just made the move to LA a year ago. So at 34, I made the move here. And I was feeling like that is so late. But you know what? I feel so good in this space now because I don't think I would have been able to do this even at 30 because I wouldn't have understood, I wouldn't have been mentally ready. I feel like now I'm in a place where, I can live in a city like this and not let the city do me. I can do the city. Like I know how to turn the city off versus like feel like I need to chase let me go out, let me do this, let me go. And that
Right.
just takes maturity and time. So I personally believe, you know, I know that we try to do this rush against the age clock, but I truly, truly believe when it happens for you, whatever that feeling clicks like it happened, that is when it's supposed to happen for you. And you're going to be happy that it happened at that time.
It's so funny that you saying this to me right now because I'm 34 myself. And I too had career changes. I know that growing up, there was a time where I had a lot of things I wanted to do. I wanted to be a damn meteorologist. I don't know why I was so
Mm.
obsessed with the weather. I wanted to be a meteorologist. Then as I got older, I wanted to be an English teacher. I don't even like
Mhm.
kids, so why I want to be an English teacher. Then on top of that, as time went on, it's like I was into writing and I wanted to be a songwriter and I wrote a bunch of songs about every man I was with. And then I said, well, maybe this is not for me. Then I got into the video making thing. I started off on Facebook, then I moved over here to YouTube. And then, I would say that things didn't start taking off for my YouTube channel until 3 years ago when I was 31. And I was
Mhm.
just like what you just said. I was one of the people that were like, well, Scotty, you 30 and you don't even know what you want right now. Or
Mhm.
Scotty, you
Mhm.
30 is you should have already had it figured out by now.
Mhm.
But when I turned 30 is when I realized that when I started to change, my mindset started to change and I started to see things differently. And I said, sometimes it may happen for people in their 20s, and sometimes it may happen for people in their 30s. And I'm 34 now, and I intend on making my move to Atlanta next year after I turn 35. And some people may say, like you just said, oh, we in our 30s, we probably feel like it was late. But I don't really think it was late. It was just divine timing. Some things
Mhm.
happen for people when it's supposed to happen.
Mhm. It
You
really
know,
would it does, and sometimes it honestly, I just believe whenever it happens, that's when it's supposed to happen, and the most important part is, you're going to feel like, "Oh, this is now when it happened, and I feel good." You like, when it happens for you, you're not gonna be like, "Ah, damn, I wish it woulda happened when I was 31." You're gonna be
right?
like, "Yeah, it happened. I feel good, and this is right." It's gonna feel like, okay, you're
Yes.
not gonna be tripped. You're not gonna be like, "Damn, it should happen at 35." You might think like, "Oh, I wonder where I would be at," but then when you look back at that time and you look at whatever you have going on in your life, you may not have been equipped to handle whatever that is at that
Yes.
time.
You are so right about that. You are so right about that. I swear you
So,
are. Like, oh, we could go for days talking about that. So I
yeah.
definitely understand that. So I get it. So if anything, we agree on that.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not Armand if there isn't any controversy.
Oh, controversy is crazy.
Not one of the first controversies of yours that I came across
Ah.
was the OG thing.
Ooh.
What did you learn from that situation?
Oh.
What did you learn from
What
that
did
situation?
I learn from that situation? Well, what I learned from that situation is do not bring the kitchen table talk to the internet. But no,
Oh,
seriously. No, that's the truth. But no, also, what I learned from the situation is that we are living in very sensitive times. People are also very performative. There's a lot of fake outrage out there. But at the same time, too, you have to learn that words hurt, you know what I mean? And, I didn't even know. Can I just be honest with you? During that
mhm.
time, I didn't even know what colorism was.
Mm.
So I literally gagged when I got all of that. I gagged because in my mind, I wasn't even thinking dark skin, light skin, anything. I was just more so thinking, oh, this you look like you know what I mean? I just was
Mhm.
thinking like if we were roasting and gagging, I would say that shit too. You know what I mean? Like, so I really wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't even like a. And oh, that was another thing I had learned. I didn't even know what featureism was. I was like, that's a thing too. I just thought that was a bunch of like leftist, kind of thinking like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna just this super like progressive, is it leftist, right? Whatever that democratic, like everybody just wants to be so inclusive with everything. And so I just thought it was a bunch of that mumble jumble BS where people were just making everything an ism and a thing. Cause I'm thinking back in the day, we would roast bitches be like, bitch, you ugly motherfucker. You know what I mean? You look like a monkey, bitch. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I didn't know that colorism and featureism was a thing. It
What's the
really was
thing?
the
Yeah.
featureism for me. I'm like, what is that?
Well,
So
yeah, I can agree with that. I had to learn about it. You know what I
yeah.
mean? So,
But I
what
learned that I just keep so what I just learned to kind of keep my mouth closed on certain things like that
yeah.
because it's like, well, I'm not doing that again because but now that I know that it's a thing, and I think that honestly, I've probably, experienced it as well, and it was a subconscious thing that I probably was doing, and I just didn't know that there was a name for it because I didn't think about it in that way. Because as kids, you got some big ass hair. Damn, you got a big ass nose. You got some big ass, bitch. You look like
Right.
like I mean, so I was coming from a place. I was ignorant, honestly, and that was my like first year on YouTube. I didn't know.
Yeah. I understand that. I mean, there's some things that I've said in the past that I didn't know was offensive. Like, I didn't know that, I'm so used to growing up and our hair not being brushed or combed. We always say, with your nappy head ass, you need to comb
Yeah.
them naps or whatever. I didn't know that was derogatory until many years later. Like, there's a lot of things. Like, I didn't even know that queen was a derogatory word up until Nene said it on the Real Housewives of Atlanta one time, and then the gays went off about it. I'm like, I didn't know that was a derogatory. I thought everybody says queen. I didn't, there's some things we are ignorant to. And then sometimes it takes for us to deal with backlash for us to really realize, what it truly is. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So, you know, I get it. There's other things that we're gonna get into. Also, with controversy, there's controversy with other creators.
Oh,
How do you find yourself in those
I
situations?
don't find myself in those situations. They find themselves with that with me. Imma be honest with you, I really don't find myself in those situations. Now, I think that I think the way that I present,
Mhm.
right? I present in a way where, people can feel like I'm very arrogant, I'm this, that, and the third. And so and because I'm very confident in myself and my abilities, that kind of turns some people off. And I think that, once you mass a certain amount of followers, um, you know, at some point there has to be a place for people to go that don't like you. So I think some people have created platforms for those people that have decided, you know what? I don't like him because he thinks he's all that. I don't like him because of what he said about OG 5 years. I want to go somewhere and talk shit about him. And so other creators have found that there's a niche for that. And because, in certain situations, I may not align with them or I may not associate with them anymore. If you can't you join them, trash them, And so there's that. You have people that, I do think that there are people that, could be jealous and envious, that those things happen, Um, Honestly, I just think that's what it is, and there's this funny thing on YouTube or just in general where, a lot of times people, they want you to like, for me, if I went out and said, "Oh, Nicki Minaj didn't share my post," or "Nicki Minaj didn't follow me," or "Nicki some or something, something," people will be trying to tell me all day long how a person doesn't owe me anything. How
Mhm.
nobody owes me nothing, how I'm entitled to think this, that, and the third. Because I remember what I said, something about, you know, saying all these good things about Nikki, and then she only noticed the bad things, and people were just talking about how entitled I was.
Mhm.
And I just think it's so interesting because you have some of these YouTube creators that have decided that they don't like me because I don't share my platform with them. I don't post them. I don't do this, or I don't go on their page, or I don't do that. And I'm thinking, so that's not entitlement. You know what I mean? And then some of them feel as though, they should be able to trash me because there's an audience for that. And then behind the scenes, we should be able to be cool and understand that they're just doing their job um, at the expense of me. And so my thing is, how you want to be friends with me, be cool with me, really secretly, but then you want to trash me because it's profitable for you.
Mm.
It's like you gotta pick one. And so for me, people choose the other side, and I'm just like, it is what it is. And so that's just what it is for me. So sometimes it's just honestly, people do it because, and then, for a while I was very emotionally charged, still working on it. And I would click out and go off. And people love that. And the more that you grow, people want to attach themselves to you because they feel like, especially if you've had any proximity to people. I noticed that people feel like, oh, if I've had proximity, I can't let this person slip too far out of my grasp because then I'm left down here and they're growing. I need to attach myself somehow, some way to this because This is my meal ticket to wherever I believe I'm gonna go next.
Mhm.
So I've just noticed a lot of that.
Do you think is that when you see people's actions being that way, is that a reason why you really don't work with many or collaborate with many people on YouTube?
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. For a while, I didn't understand Lovely T. I
Mhm.
fully understand her now. At this point, like, child, I was damn near like not about to do this. You know what I mean? Like for real, because
Right.
I'm just like, but I've been watching you for a while, and I was like, okay, I like him, and I just want to, because some people will like me, and and then they'll like me to see if I'll come on. Then if I don't
Mhm.
come on fast enough, then they tell me how they really feel and they start trashing me. You know what I mean? Or then they like me just to get me on, and then it's I have to keep it real. Imma say what I got to say, and ain't nobody gonna control me. So then now you just wanna trash me because now you have you know what I'm saying? It's like, girl, it's not even giving that. So what I've noticed is like for me, I'm very particular with the YouTubers. I probably honestly I just rather do my thing. I don't want to get into coots with any YouTubers like that. You know what I mean? Do my job and go home. Learned that from Lovely T because it just gets messy. And honestly, I don't really want any friends on YouTube like that. Like I have my friends, like shout out to Candace, it's her birthday today. I have my
Mhm.
people that I fool with. Um, but I don't want to get too far into new people. Nobody up like it's hard to it sucks, but it's like it makes you feel like I don't want to do anybody up and coming. I don't want to attack because it's like, what are you coming here for? And then if you feel like you're not getting something from me in the time that you feel like you should get it, then your proximity to me becomes the content. If
Yes.
if 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 I shout you out one time, if I follow you one time, if we do a live together, if we meet up, I damn sure don't really meet up with a lot of people. But we meet up, then all of a sudden you've met me and now you're exposing me. You know what I mean? So
Right.
I just like, I don't know. I just it sucks, but I don't know.
Well, I understand that. I'm a person that does collabs with a lot of people.
Mm,
And I found myself in situations where I collab with people and then, sometimes or become friends or friendly with people. And
mhm,
then, it turns into something else. And I know for a long time I didn't want to I was kinda in the same seat you were in, like, I really didn't want to do it anymore, but I don't know, I still reach out to people and I still try to collab, but I do understand because I heard you say this, before. I understand why you don't necessarily want to, I get it. That's why when I reached out for you to do this, I was surprised that you even responded to me because I know you shouted me out before, and I was grateful for that. But I'm like, now I don't know if he's gonna do this, but it wouldn't hurt to try. And I did it. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
another
and like I
thing
don't
too,
mind doing it. Like to me,
yeah,
I think that it works, but I just gotta watch you for a minute. I gotta catch your energy. You know what I mean? I feel like
yeah,
you've given me your critiques, but they haven't been like trash, you know what I'm saying? At the
yeah,
same time, like, I watch people I was like, once I said and you affiliated with people that I don't like, but at this it's not even about that, though. I watch how you handle conversations when they come to me, so it's like, you're not just saying that you like me to get you on your show, then you're gonna start trashing me. It's more like, "Okay, I did like this, I don't like this." You give flowers when they're due, you give, constructive criticism, but you always maintain that I rock with Armand and I support his page, and you're also not on there just, blowing balls all the time. You have a mind of your own. You're not in all of my videos. You're not under all of my posts and comments. So you are your own person. So here's my thing. I don't want somebody that's going to sit here and gargle balls all the time because that's fake. You're doing that to just, you're not being real if you love everything I do. But then if you
right.
hate everything I do too, you don't fuck with me either. You know what I mean? So you have to have your own mind. But, there was another content creator that most people, I'm gonna tell you this, most people on YouTube, especially me and at some point, I don't know. Most of them don't like me because they wanted to work with me at a point, and I didn't work with them.
Mhm.
There was a content creator I remember one time they wanted to work with me. They wanted to be on voice chat really, really bad. And they also wanted to do an interview with me. They were trashing me, trashing me, trashing me, trashing me, trashing me. Then they wrote me like a 2-page essay, like apologizing. It was cool back in 2020. They were trashing me, trashing me, trashing me. They wrote me that. And I was like, okay. I didn't really respond, but it was no tea. And I watched them for a minute. Then they had somebody else contact me to see if I would do an interview with them. That was strike number one. Contact me yourself. Thing one. Thing two, you're never in my chat. I mean, at least once or twice come by and say, hey. You don't even follow me on Instagram. You don't tag. I'm not saying you got to blow smoke, but bitch, you don't like me. You just want me to come and engage with you so you can have me. You know what I'm saying? You don't
Right.
really like me. And so that's kind of what I was getting. So I was like, I'm not going on your show. You know what I mean? And then the minute at the slightest thing they felt slighted at, they've been on a tirade trashing me. But I already knew you didn't like me. So I'm glad that I never really went on your show in that manner to give you a
Yeah.
one-on-one experience, because I could feel from the beginning it wasn't genuine. You just wanted, the Arman Wiggins show YouTuber on there versus like, let me do a collab with Arman. Let me try to get to know him a little bit. So I can read through people's energy. I can read through the bullshit for sure.
Well, I do
I
know
try
that.
to.
Okay. Well, I do know that you hung out with one of my friends that's on here, and that's
Oh,
House of Aaron. He's
oh,
a
I
good
love him. That's my
friend of mine.
baby.
We were just together about, I think, back in August. I had said I saw you with Armand. He told me a lot of great things about y'all's
Of course he
interaction and
could.
stuff
Of
like
course he would.
that.
Why
So,
would he say anything different?
of course, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like,
That would be crazy.
I said it looked like y'all had a lot of fun, and he was like, "We did. We had a great time." And I was like, "Yeah." I
Mhm.
was like, we was together back in August. We'll probably get back together again in November. But every time I go to Atlanta, I hang out with Aaron. Like we are real life friends. So
Mhm. He annoying. He's crazy, but yeah, I love him.
yeah.
But I no, like Aaron is one of those people that I've met and I really, really like. Aaron is cool. Like I really love Aaron. Like he cool. He cool. But
Yeah,
I
he
think he
is.
see. I love Aaron. I ain't even gonna hold you. I love Aaron. He's just stupid, but I love Aaron. But I love him though. No shade. I love Aaron.
Have you seen him drunk before?
I'm not about to do this, but I'm not about to talk about that. That
Well,
is
I'm just gonna.
private.
This is my first time. My first time ever seeing him drunk this past August, and that was funny as hell. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
I'm not about to
But
talk about that. He not here.
but however, because I know we got about 6 more minutes left. Okay, so what advice would you give to a person that's starting YouTube, or is aspiring to do some of the things that I'm doing, or some of the things that you're doing right now? Because a lot of the things that you do, I sit back and I look at it and I be like, I want to do the same thing. Like, not necessarily like how you was a part of the documentary with the Tory
Mhm.
Lanez thing. I want to be a part of like one of those little love and hip hop documentaries that they do, like when they have all the people sitting there talking about the scenes and stuff like that. That's the type of thing I want to do. Not so. What type of advice would you give someone that wants to do what we're doing?
I think I think the advice would be to be laser focused on a goal. You know what I mean? Like, and it's just one of those things. It's a couple things to this because so there's one thing is like if you got it, you got it, and if you don't, you don't. And also,
Right.
but you can still figure your way. You just got to learn to pivot sometimes. Sometimes, because everybody ain't gonna make it. Like we got to talk about it. But some people will. But if something is not working, go another way. And so, especially if there's a person that's wanting to go into like I don't know, figure out the direction you want to go into. If you want to do documentaries and love and hip hop or entertainment stuff, you need to focus in on entertainment stuff. You know what I mean? And a lot of people trash me about doing female rap and things like that. However, I got that from Perez Hilton. He niched down. I niched down to female rap because if I'm on here talking about the housewives, female rap, Candy Burris, this politics, this, and the third, for me, in my opinion, that's too much. And it's no one is going to, how are you going to be an expert at something? And how are you going to grow? I don't mind branching out into those things later, but for me, I'm going to zero in on a focus and I'm going to be the expert and the best at that focus So then I draw those people in, and then I am the expert in that realm, and then it moves. I just feel like I feel like people should niche down into a focus and become the best at that. But it's got to be something. But it's got to make sense to where where you feel like where it will lead you, because you got to think female rap. I love female. I've always loved female rappers, but I also like music and dancing
Mhm.
and performing. So you have to have like a love for the stuff that you're talking about.
Right.
And if
That's
you
true.
genuinely love it and you will do it for free, you're going to make it.
Mm.
If you don't genuinely love it, and or if you're only doing it for a check, you're not going to make it. If To me, I say this, and then I'm going to just leave it at that. Do that one thing that you will do for free. That is your gift.
Mm.
Whatever that is that you enjoy doing for free, that is what you do. Because I did this for free for years and didn't think about a dollar. The money then came, and then with the money, then you could invest in opportunities, and all that stuff started to come because I was able to add to and add to. And then when you got the money, you became even more excited about it.
Right.
But I would have done it for free anyway. So do the thing that you're going to do for that. The thing that you will do for free is the thing that you should do. And that's period. That's for anybody.
Okay then. Well, first things first, okay?
Mhm.
I just want to thank you once again for doing this.
Okay.
I think this was a great conversation. I
An
feel
hour flew
an
by.
hour really flew by. Like I can't believe it's been an hour already, but that means this was a great conversation, and it
Okay.
opened me up to a lot more about you. Because the only thing that that's the reason why I'm doing this type of thing is so people can see different sides to you guys. Because a lot
Yeah.
of people that watch you, they probably just see you say, "Oh, get in here," or "This is a legendary show," all that stuff.
Mhm.
But some people probably didn't even know about some of your background that you discussed up here and things like that. So
Mhm.
I appreciate you for doing this. You are
Yeah.
one of my favorite people to look at. And
Yeah.
I'm always going to be humbly grateful for this.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
I appreciate it. And keep
Listen,
doing
I'm
what
just
you do.
listen, and this is all of this is like very humbling to me, because to have people interviewing me asking about a star is not something that was in the cards for me. Pause. I didn't really. This was not what I set out to do. Like, oh, I wanted to do that. You know what I mean? So
Right.
I'm saying this to say, like, I'm trying to drive that point home, bro. Whatever it is that you will do for free, it will make room for you in a way that is crazy. So, despite all the things that people may say about me when I'm online doing my show, I mean, nigga, I went to school for musical theater and dramatic and performing arts. I mean, of course I'm gonna be colorful. Of course it's a show. You have to entertain. And one other thing, if you do not create in this space, at least what I'm saying, like commentary, if you don't create like a reaction, an emotion, not a reaction, an emotion. If you don't draw an emotion, then you're not doing your job. And I mean, when I mean emotion, I mean good or bad. You
Right.
have to pull something out of people. So if everybody's like, "Oh, I hate you," yeah, they hate me, but they love to hate me too. You know what I'm saying? They really don't hate me, and then some of them they love me. And I'm gonna say this too, because I don't feel like we really got into this, but I'm gonna get into this real quick.
Okay.
A lot of people call me a flip flopper for both sides of the way that I do my commentary. People have to understand that I'm not a fan base, right? And so
Hmm.
I'm independent. And so if I only lean one side the entire time, you know, my opinion won't be respected. I believe that my opinion is respected because people know that if Armand say he like it, he like it. If Armand say he didn't like it, he didn't like it. But it's not because I don't like you, or it's not because I want to hurt your feelings. Because
Hmm.
anybody that I talk about, I'm a fan of. I don't talk about people I don't like unless they keep making it like, oh God, they're getting into on my radar. But most people that I
Right.
talk like Doja Cat, but most people that I talk about, I'm a fan of. So my criticism doesn't come from a place from hate, you know? In all honesty, the hour that people are with me on my show, um, my mantra is, because T.S. Madison was able to give me this and Wendy Williams did this for me. We, a lot of us deal with a lot of things going on in our personal lives, a lot of traumas, a lot of anxieties, and this, that, and the third. And so my idea is for that 1 hour that you sit and watch me, maybe even two on a good night, I want you to forget about everything that you have going on. Release the thoughts of reality and come into this internet reality and have a good time, at least for an hour. You know what I mean? Then
Mm-hmm.
you can go back to your regular life because sometimes we need an escape from reality. And I love being that escape from reality to other people. That is why I don't cover politics. I don't cover religion. I don't do a lot of death because I feel like people deal with so much of that every day on a daily basis. We just want to have a light-hearted banter that really means nothing. And that's
Basically.
why I'm here for because I need that.
Right.
So yeah.
Well, that's a good closer. Okay, that's a
Mhm.
good closer. That's a good closer. All right, you guys. Well, that's pretty much all that we got with Mr. Arman
Thank
Wiggins.
you.
Once again, thank you for coming on my platform. I wish I could talk like I want to, but I can't. But thank you for doing that. And I appreciate everybody that came in, all the super chats, everybody that enjoyed the conversation, because it looks like for the most part, everybody enjoyed the conversation.
Okay.
So thank everybody for tuning in. And once again, thank you for making this happen. And we out of here, y'all.
All
Until
right.
the next
Love
one.
you.
Love you
Thank
too.
you. Bye.
Bye.